And I'm now just realizing, unfortunately, Stotts, if you could just talk again quickly.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, so I am now realizing that my mic was not on for the
Oh
bulk
no.
of that. And so we've probably got your audio for that, but we should probably reintroduce everything that we were
Yeah,
talking about here
like a
off the
crazy person.
start. Yeah, it may just sound like Stotts is a bit of a crazy person there for the beginning of this broadcast. Maybe we'll go back and trim that off. But yeah, we'll kind of get into what we can expect to see this week. If you couldn't hear me, and you probably couldn't, welcome once more to the
Reintroduction.
ARC Formula One United States Grand Prix. This time, we've been to Coda, we've been to Las Vegas. We like to rotate these things. This season, we visit the Miami International Autodrome in the Miami Gardens area. We go all in and around the Hard Rock Stadium, and obviously, this is only our third time visiting this circuit. This is something we just touched on. It's been all the way back since 2023 that we last were here, and that was with a victory from Mikey DeJong. Not here tonight, of course. He started this season signed to the Racing Predators Williams team. Haven't seen much of him this season. He currently sits all the way down in P33 on the standings on just 5 points with a best finish of 8th in the British Grand Prix. So we're not going to see a repeat winner this go around, but
A lot
what
of
we
fresh
will,
blood.
a lot of fresh blood this season out. Obviously, Cameron Lopez is a bit of a veteran at this point, one-time champion, currently sitting in P2. But beyond that, I mean, Oliver James has a season under his belt. Jamie Cavallini has two. Sean Reese has one, and Aiden McCarthy has one or two. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Everybody else here, rookie. Um, a lot of field turnover this go around, but what I did want to do is pick up a lap here from Takubi. We've seen how quick he can go, and what we should do is take you guys for a lap around this 3.363 mile circuit as we swing to the right here. Firstly, picking up turn one and then two. You got to stay pretty hard on those curbs to get the most optimal line through that sector. Here there's an S bend that you swing pretty hard into. Same there. You can see Takubi, Maxime Van Averbeek, using as much of the curb as he possibly can. This has been a really scruffy lap from him so far, and he knows it has been, so he backs out. We'll take you guys now down this backstretch here. Of course, longest straightaway on this track, if you can call it that. And I suppose the little known fact here is that this straightaway carries the shape of the top of an alligator. If you take that track and you flip it over, it's an alligator's head, which very Florida. That's where we're at, and a little bit of a callback to that, I guess. And here we go under the overpass through that twiddly little chicane there, and he prepares for another lap here. Initially, this circuit was, and Stotts, you may know this. I'm sure you probably do, based on the fact that you're a motorsports fan. But initially, this track was slated to go over a bridge, the same way as the Nashville IndyCar circuit. It was supposed to basically go across the bridge, turn around, and then come back across the bridge.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know that. My knowledge was not there. That's nice to know. Wow, I mean, I wish they did that. I wish
Yeah,
they did, me personally.
would have been kind of an interesting track compared to maybe what we have now. I've heard a lot of discourse online as we're still watching Maxime Van Averbeek, and he spins. He's in the wall. The front wing is gone.
Ooh.
He is uncomfortable this week, and you can tell through that first sector as he'll return to the pit. And we're seeing a lot from him of what the F1 esports community would call flick steering. It's when you put a lot of steering lock into the car immediately, just flicking the steering and then basically having the rear end follow. What we are not seeing is the rear end actually keeping the grip here for Maxime Van Averbeek. We know this is his driving style, but that could have ended very badly with a wheel ripped off, and it's actually quite lucky that he did manage to not lose one there.
You got to think here, right? I mean, what type of confidence does this give him? You know, going into running another lap, or even for the race. I mean, do you feel that? Do you want to risk doing that? I mean, like you said, he's lucky he didn't take a wheel off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta wonder.
Absolutely, fully agree with you here. As he'll head back to the pits here. Who do we have on a lap right now? I believe pretty much everybody right now is on their way back into the pit, and it does seem that way for sure. Jamie Cavaniini's
there.
Yeah, Cameron Lopez also, we saw him improve his time. He's slowing down here for this final corner, and he'll be headed into the pit this time too.
I'm really intrigued to see how aggressive these guys are in that weird section was that sector 2? I'm very curious to see how aggressive some people are to try and go over those curbs, and I'm gonna be really shocked if we don't see a good bit of penalties.
Yeah,
there's some treacherous spots here.
And that will be two of the buzzwords, and the one buzz phrase at this track is track limits for sure. You can pick up penalties pretty easily here, especially on the exit of, I believe, turn. Let me take a look here. I was going to say the corner at the end of the backstretch, but I'd love to give you guys the more specific turn 11. Just before the long sweeping right-hander at 12. That corner, you can very easily, as we ride along with Vaxi through here, right here on exit, you can pick up track limits penalties very easily because, as you can see, very wide open area of pavement there with a lot of grip, and right through there you'll see he picks up a track limits penalty. He's on a recovery lap anyway, so I don't think it's going to matter much to him, but proving our point for sure.
7 and 8, I believe, or 7, I should say. 7, turn 7. You're like swinging out wide there. That long left-hander.
That's another area you could pick one up for sure. And the other area for sure is that chicane. The trouble spot, of course, could be the. Sorry, I'm just looking at something here. I'm looking to get Vaxi's name because I do want to be able to call him by his name, much like
properly.
Yeah, much like everybody else here.
I'm very curious. I don't know how it's been in this game, but in previous games, exiting 2 and into 3, sometimes trying to go full out around the little lip, it can actually spin the car, get the rear loose. I don't know how it is on this game, but I know it's been a problem in the previous games that this track has been been here.
Yeah, and I mean it's not super old tarmac. There's not a whole lot of grip to be had on it in the first place. I mean, it's only approaching 3 years old in age here, and parts of it are obviously going to be repaved per season because it does take place in a parking lot. So there will be wear and tear, of course, through the use it gets as a parking lot throughout the year. With that said, I mean,
what Santy's doing.
Seems like he's shot down the runoff area. We'll check in on him quickly.
He just drove there, yeah. I've been watching him. I saw there's a yellow right here. I just wanted to see what was going on.
He may be doing... Oh, okay. And he's gotten DQ'd. Not sure what for, but definitely a decision.
Alrighty. Oh, I think I see what Takubi's going to do right here. Oh, I think he's going to try and pick up a slip off his teammate coming to start his lap.
It does indeed seem that way. Oh, maybe it won't be that way.
I only thought it because he slowed down and his teammate went right by him, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was expecting the same thing. What I will say though is, I'm interested here to ride along with Oliver James as he now picks up the pace puts the pedal down out into that out onto the front stretch here. DRS open and into the right-hander. Into the left-hander, right-hander again, taking as much curb as you possibly can without losing the rear like we've seen from Maxime Van Averbeek. Very confident across those curves, but as you see that front end just sliding, wash as far right as you like here, and he blows the apex there, that corner. I don't think he's going to be faster on this lap, but that's purple through that sector. Surprisingly, makes you wonder what is possible through this sector, right?
It's crazy because he's not flicking the stick like Maximum is. I mean, he's really not. It's kind of awesome to see.
No, he's got a very smooth driving style through here for sure. He seems to be driving more with the pedal than the steering. And right through there, you got to ask like what your track limits scenario is going to be, and he seems to hold it down. He's purple all the way through that sector again, even on pole. What could we see from Takubi here? Oliver James, he's looking like he's on for a 25.5. Can Maxime Van Averbeek match that? What about Cameron Lopez? Through the last corner, he hits the apex about as perfect as you can, but it's a late piece of footwork onto the accelerator there. Only a 25.7. He lost a bit in the final corner. We ride on with Maxime Van Averbeek now, who is coming through under the overpass. He puts the pedal down. He's 0.4 up. That would be enough to get him ahead of Oliver James. It's all going to come down to that last corner. This has been another sloppy lap from Maxime Van Averbeek by the sound of it, if we're only talking about a 0.4 up difference, because those other two weren't all that. But through this final corner, he seemed to be on the accelerator quite a bit quicker than Oliver James, and it's going to be pull from him. Now, what can Cameron Lopez do? He looks quick through the last corner. Was the DRS light harvesting there? He comes around the final corner, and what a lap it is. It's a third place for him, and now the Aston Martin keeps its position in fifth. It's going to be a pole position for Maxime Van Averbeek. How many this season, you ask? Well, that is number 5.
And I was watching him on that lap, and where he wasn't flicking the stick like we saw on that one lap. He seemed a lot more settled, a lot more calm, and the numbers speak for itself.
Yeah, we may be looking at a track here that doesn't like that driving style nearly as much, and you see the two fastest times taking advantage of what one might call a more realistic driving style this go around. As we go through our order here, of course, the Belgian Maxime Van Averbeek ahead of Oliver James from the British island. I would read you guys the rest, but got to wait for that, of course. We do have word, of course, from Vaxi. His name is Dan Dale, and he did, of course, fill out the sign up. We've said that in the past. I just forgot it. By the way, perfect name, beautiful. As we wait for players here, only a 12-car field tonight as we wind down the season here. You know, I think we're probably going to have 4 or 5 races left. This, of course, being that 4th or 5th one, but I don't know if we're going to get that 5th race in, since it's scheduled for after the release of F125 as our formation lap here. Let's go through the field a bit here. We, of course, have the Belgian Maxime Van Averbeek, our championship leader here. He currently sits on a massive lead in the championship. And by massive, I mean it is, at this point, pretty much insurmountable for our second-place driver, Cameron Lopez. 38 points might not seem like that much, but we're talking about a guy whose average finish is 4.55, and that's even factoring in a 20th and an 11th place finish, both of which were DNFs. Cameron Lopez's lowest finish is 12th. He's got a 4.5 average finish, but I don't think it's going to be enough for him. Starting P2, Oliver James. He's down in P13 in the standings on 32 points. He could use a good result here and there. He leads Cameron Lopez, who is in second in the standings. He is, of course, as we said, 38 back. Needs to work some miracles here with only 4 or 5 races left this season. Dan Dale, P5. He, of course, is down the standings as a new driver. In fact, I would be hard-pressed to find him on the list here. P28 on 12 points, best finish of P4 at the Portuguese Grand Prix. Now we'll start working our way down a little quicker. We got Finn Baker in P6. Looks like some contact in the chicane here.
Yeah.
Finn Baker, as I said, P6. P7, we've got Caden McDonald, who's actually, this is a very good starting position for him. Sean Reese, P8 in the Haas for DRT Simsport. P9 is, of course, Aidan McCarthy for his own team, Wildcard Autosport. P10, Lewis Huchin reserving for George Knight, who didn't show up after deciding he did not want to due to a stewarding decision taken after Monza, in which he had contact with Ferrari driver Xander Wiles. How much of that factored into him not racing tonight is yet to be seen. Jamie Cavallini starting 11th with a disqualification from the formation lap and rounding out the field disqualified from qualifying, as we see the Ferrari go around there somehow, some way, is Santi Ortiz, who is once again back. And we wait for the lights here from the view of the drivers.
Let's get racing.
Let's go. They are unleashed for the 2025A Miami Grand Prix. Down into turn 1, Maxime Van Averbeek leads the way. Down the inside already is Cameron Lopez on the inside of the McLaren, but the McLaren Oliver James holds him off just ahead. And as we work our way down through the field, everybody's singled out pretty quickly here. Not a whole lot of advantage to be taken, as we've already singled out for these S-bends. The Alpine getting a little wide, and now we see the other Alpine in the back going wide. The two drivers hanging the rears out as we head on to the backstretch. Is the McLaren quick enough or close enough to make a move down here with DRS not open, of course, on the first lap? We will wait for that on lap 2. He'll try and hang tight for this first lap. Settling out here.
Tire compound.
Yeah, of course, we should actually, as we wait to settle out here, we have a car way wide. I believe that was Aidan McCarthy. Already picked up a time penalty here is Caden McDonald of the V-Carb, and down the inside, Santi Ortiz on Lewis Huchin in the Mercedes. There's contact between the Ferrari with the Aston Martin, that, of course, being Jamie Cavallini, who's making his way back up through the field, the driver of the 64 Aston Martin. He puts his car on the outside here, and he'll try and make a move before they get to the hairpin here, and it's done. The Alpine blocking the Mercedes down into the hairpin, or I shouldn't say blocking, but rather pinching him off his preferred line. And oh my goodness, the Aston Martin nearly slides into the Ferrari once more. Chaotic first lap for sure, but everybody holds it tight so far. We have Takubi already off the track there. Will that be will time penalties come into play here for our leaders? You don't see him that often. Don't see him that often from Maxime Van Averbeek. He doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, but if there's been a place to pick up time penalties, this is the place. Let's see if we have a yellow in sector 1. Ooh, it is
he saved it.
He did save it. Oh my goodness.
Top 2 pulled away here already. Or starting to.
Yeah, a big gap. This is looking like it could work out to be a very, very rapid pace as far as the McLaren of Oliver James goes. He's had some
V-carb push the Alpine.
V-carb, you say? Sorry. Let's take a look. Nothing nothing for us to look at as the people watching the front right now, but as now we see Dan Dale go down the inside with DRS of Cameron Lopez, who seems to be struggling right now despite being on that medium tire. What I'm interested in here...
Ryan Messer. Or is it Messer? Is that Ryan Messer in 5th? Is that who
it is? Sure is.
I don't want to get that wrong. I'm interested with his Harris to see what he can do. What his strategy may be is also what I'm curious.
I'm also nervous for myself as, the co-owner of Vision 47, of course. my Mercedes team that I like to pull for, even commentating here. Um, I'm a little nervous because last week we saw Ryan Messer get his second career podium, and it also marked the first time that we've seen both of those Nuclear Fusion Racing Saubers on the podium at the same time. Now, they brought home a season high 40 points. No one this season scored a 1-2, so a 1-3 is quite literally the most points anybody's gotten in a season, as we see the McLaren getting really close to the back of that Sauber, Maxime Van Averbeek. But with the driving that Ryan Messer's been doing this season, and it's been good, solid driving as it goes on. I mean, he's already on 68 points. I'm a little nervous that Mercedes team might not be sitting as comfortably as we initially might have thought. They're currently on 314 points. That's a 72-point deficit ahead, or a gap, I should say. The Sauber, of course, holding the deficit. 72 points for the NFR team to make up to catch that Mercedes. But when the Mercedes doesn't have George Knight here, and not to say he's been performing real well anyway with 5 DNFs in the last 6 races, it makes you wonder, like, can NFR catch up and win their first ever constructors title?
Well, and if they do, I think it's just one word you can describe it. It's consistent. Whether it's them consistently showing up or if they're consistently, getting points, it's just that's what's gonna bring them back into this. Is just being consistent all around. Doesn't matter what, they're just consistent. And not to take away from your your team, AJ, but that's kind of the facts of it, unfortunately.
I mean, I'm fully on board with you. I mean, we have seen Cameron Lopez. He's consistent all the time, with the exception of Singapore, which just didn't seem to go well for him. And then his wheel issues in the middle of the season. Cameron Lopez always seems to be either on the podium or just off it. And he also he's very good at picking up the scraps when he can, as well as, oh my goodness, the McLaren very sideways there. He loses DRS. He's pushing so hard, and I think this is maybe taking him out of the fight already, as we'll wait to see if that gap increases.
Gosh.
Finn Baker now catching back up to the back of Ryan Messer, down the inside here into the hairpin. Ryan Messer lets him have it, and he will pick up DRS on the exit here of the corner and maybe get him into turn 1. Or maybe not. Hard to say, really.
Now, with Oliver James losing this DRS, I'm curious to see if Cameron and Dan, if they can reel him in. They have DRS in their advantage, so if they can do some swapping around, and I mean, they could realistically have a chance to be fighting for second with Oliver out of DRS.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's kind of something that they're going to need to do some swapping, because they definitely don't have the outright pace right now. It's going to be hard for anybody in any scenario to... So we have a yellow flag. That is, once again, in the exact same spot. That's Aiden McCarthy. As he recovers, nearly puts it in the wall in the recovering phase of that. But yeah, it's how it's been so far for him. Tough race.
Oh my, that Aston. Gosh, they're getting squabbly in that little tight section in Sector 2. Gosh, they just get so out of shape so easily.
Yes, they do, especially with the downforce levels you run here too. You want a significant amount on the front so you can swing into those corners. Of course, turn 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then of course 7 as well.
Ooh.
And now we see the Mercedes of Lewis Hutchin. He's been working on this Alpine of Santi Ortiz throughout these last couple of laps, and we've just been kind of watching him here. Which Aston Martin? That one?
That was Jamie, I believe.
Oh, Jamie Cavallini.
It's that part we talked about where it lacks grip in 3. I saw his teammate. Funny enough, Dan, he got a little loose as well. It's just, I mean, it's just the tires are not, the grip is just not there really. And I think this has been a track that's been known for that. Um, if not, these previous games, it's definitely well aware of it now in this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good gaining on Oliver here, Lopes and Dan. I think Oliver's struggling a lot. We talked about Oliver, not being able to put, a full race together. And it tends to lead to him burning tires and making mistakes. And we saw him make the mistake of getting real squirrely. And that probably killed the tires, or at least killed the rears.
This is one of those weeks I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for that driving style, though, because without that driving style, he doesn't start so high. And right now, he's still got a pretty good gap to drivers that we would typically expect to be in front of him in Cameron Lopez. So, I mean, with that said, he's dropping time to Maxime Van Averbeek, but I think in this race, you expect, well, who wouldn't be?
Well, I heard a wall. I heard someone.
Yes,
hit a wall.
I also just heard a wall, and it
Ferrari.
seems to be the Ferrari again, who's now missing some pieces of front wing, as he'll head into the pit this time.
Poor guy, just having a bad week.
Let's see if he retires the car, or if he continues on.
Well, no wing was changed. It looked like, unless I'm blind.
No wing was changed, you're correct.
Alright, making sure. I don't want to make sure I missed it. I was worried for a second.
Yeah, Aiden McCarthy's no good, very bad day.
He'd be screaming on the radio to his crew.
Why didn't you change the wing?
Ferrari.
Yeah.
He's in a Ferrari, so I think it makes up for all that.
And we have a spinner in the back. The V-carbs hit the wall. Has he gotten any damage?
What's the damage?
The car seems to be in one piece. Good. I don't see any end plate missing, but it's also hard to tell with the angle we have here. End plate all still on.
Looks pretty good.
He did smack the wall down the inside, and he is so far off the track right now. Was that a dive attempt on a car that hit him? Or did he just completely miss the corner?
That's a really good question.
Or did the Aston here, who was already missing a piece of wing as we see the Ferrari spin again, break early?
He didn't change his wing. The Aston didn't change his wing. Oh, man.
What is going on with these wing changes?
I'm wondering if they're thinking that... Well, no, they certainly can't think that. I mean, Jamie's he's a regular. He should know that it won't change automatically. He'd have to set that.
Yeah, unless it gets to a certain point. And of course, Aiden McCarthy, he'll probably be headed in this time as well. He's now missing significantly more wing.
Oof.
And
he can take this time to learn, honestly, just learn the track, maybe.
He might be needing more than that. No speeding penalties, though.
I thought it was gonna be a speeding penalty.
And they put a wing on him. They're putting a wing on him this time, so all good. All is well in the world.
Really gave an earful to Fred.
And Maxime Van Averbeek out to a 4.8 second lead over Oliver James, who's still kind of in the same, not quite in the clutches of Cameron Lopez. These 2 and 3rd and 4th seem pretty resigned to where they're fighting right now, barring no mistakes from Oliver James. I mean, they're all in the same compound. Not really any big movement going on headed through turn 7 there.
This Aston, though, he's about to make a move on Cameron. I wonder if one of these guys are going to undercut not just each other, but maybe just to get closer to Oliver.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be worth it, honestly, because at that point you're looking at being able to stick in that DRS train too. So that in itself is a big, big help. Having that extra bit of speed on the straight to hang with the person ahead of you. What's kind of worth noting here as we watch Oliver James and the McLaren on 18 points currently, and more notably the Aston Martin in P4 and now 3 as he passes, as we see the McLaren of Oliver James into the pit, as well as the Mercedes of Cameron Lopez both into the pit. The Alpine of Finn Baker into the pit. He may well have been. All of them onto a hard compound tire. Let's bring up the tire detail and take a look at where everybody sits, tire age, and where we're looking for the current situation. Now, with that said, as I was saying before everybody pitted here, is that the interesting thing that is worth noting here is the current points battle between Aston Martin and Ferrari for P4 in the constructors' standings. Currently, they both sit on 123 points, and less notably, McLaren's on 150. All three of those very, very close currently. And actually, now that I say that, I believe the points are slightly off there for the Ferrari because they scored 4 extra points. So, and even for the Aston Martin, I believe they're kind of off. But anyway, regardless, they're very close. Now that I'm looking at the points, regardless, they're very close. Maxime Van Averbeck into the pits. What I was gonna say is we've seen Xander Wiles. He started the season, he's shown up a lot, and then kind of trailed off. And so, as that's happened, the Ferrari team has kind of started sliding down the standings. Now, at one point, they were P2 ahead of the Sauber before Maxime Van Averbeck joined, and that became the obvious de facto second fastest team behind the one that had 2 drivers already having won races. Now that I say that, and we have a car spun in the pit entry. That is Jamie Cavallini.
This is so unlike Jamie, honestly.
A birdie in my ear tells me Jamie has indeed cooked a steak and enjoyed a fair amount of liquor tonight.
Okay, well.
So, obviously...
Good thing he's in the back.
It's also a good thing that these cars are virtual, so he can't hurt himself, but worth noting that it does indeed affect your reflexes. So, as we have a class...
Crazy reflexes I'm watching.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy reflexes.
It's Friday night, you know? Can't really fault the guy, you know?
And as long as he's not a hazard, I mean...
Of course. Maybe that's probably why he started in the back, quite honestly. Probably was in, just not doing anything bad or dumb.
Also worth noting that Mikey de Jong basically won a championship whilst drinking a beer every night.
But that could be a talent of his. I don't know. Is he from, he's Dutch, right? Yeah, that could just be a Dutch,
that could be a Dutch thing.
Instinct right there. I mean, that Verstappen probably do the same thing.
I don't know if you just saw what I saw there with the with the Saubers up ahead there, but Ryan Messers is holding up his teammate just a little bit here to the point where I almost saw Maxime Van Averbeck spin out in the S's. That would have been not ideal.
It's good seeing Ryan. Honestly, could be home for a safety car. You never know. You just never know. Anything is possible. Well, that car sliding out is, I could also wreck out. Oh my goodness, he's really sliding that.
Yeah, and I mean,
car, or don't be the reason.
Yeah, exactly. Oliver James now just 0.4 ahead of the 11-lap-old tire of Santi Ortiz. Cameron Lopez a further 3.1 back on the hard tire. As the grip shrinks, it seems like Oliver James has pretty much the measure on Cameron Lopez here. And Lopez indeed also over Dan Dale in the net P4 position. Maxime Van Averbeck fastest lap on a new hard tire. And into the pit comes Santi Ortiz, who slows down and does not take a penalty. Meanwhile, Jamie Cavallini picks up another time penalty. And if you didn't take the DARE program in school, maybe that was a Canadian thing growing up. I don't know, Stouts. Or maybe he's just not here. And we have a retirement in the pits from Jamie Cavallini, who hangs it up after a pointless night for him. Of course, that's our lobby host. Aiden McCarthy picking up more time penalties, staying off for blue flags as he needs to. And didn't need to pick up the penalties for it, of course, but much appreciated, I'm sure, by the other drivers to not pick fights with them or sit in front of them. Cameron Lopez now 4.2 back from the. We have another accident from Aiden McCarthy, who's just having a rough go of it here. Sector 1, the McLaren seems to have stepped out. He's lost time, big time, to Cameron Lopez. Seems to have stepped out in the rear through turn 2 and lost it in onto the marbles, or potentially the wall. We didn't quite catch all that as we had just seen Aiden McCarthy spin. We approach halfway into this race, and we have a battle for that P2 position right now, forming between these three drivers, three different teams represented here. The McLaren, of course, East Coast Racing, driven by Oliver James. That P3 car, or P4, I should say, Cameron Lopez representing Vision 47, and P5, of course, represented by the Asphalt Racing team, owned by Jamie Cavallini, who is out of this race. The Ferrari once again stopped and spun. He recovers, and we will recover ourselves to watch this battle down into the hairpin. Let's see what they can do. Maxime Van Averbeck sets another fastest lap. We will ride along with the Aston Martin here, watching the drivers ahead. DRS flaps are open on the cars that follow the McLaren. Cameron Lopez, he keeps it as tight to the corner as he can to get a run through this turn 2. Through this sector, dirty air can be a problem, but he's going to want to try and keep it as tight as possible. So through this long sweeping corner around what they call the marina, he can indeed make a move into the sharp turn 11. Cameron Lopez will be on the ERS here with the DRS open. Can he make the move into this corner just up ahead here? He stays behind for now. Battle through this tight little chicane here. Right now I'm going to get rid of the tire gap for all of you guys so we can just see interval for now. As these drivers ahead, tires aren't going to be an issue here until we start seeing Ryan Messer into the pit. He, of course, still on a hard tire, and he should be in very shortly anyway. Defensive from Oliver James. Cameron Lopez DRS should be open this time, but it's not. Whoa, and just a tight tight, squirrely little moment there from Cameron Lopez, nearly putting it into the wall as he tries to get on the accelerator quickly there. You got to use that curb on the exit. And here he comes. DRS is open. Let's take a look here from Dan Dale. What will Cameron Lopez do to make this move? He hangs it around the outside of this long sweeper, but he can't make it happen. Dan Dale has the front row seat, of course, through this chicane. And can Cameron Lopez get the DRS this time and use it to make this move for net P2? As he swaps over quickly here, he'll get on the power earlier. This is the closest he's been. Will he be able to make a move down into turn 1? Not quite for Cameron Lopez. He's a little further behind this time, 5.5 tenths through this sector. And Cameron Lopez gets it done into that corner. Can he keep it? He does indeed keep it through this sector. Now what will Dan Dale do through this corner? Oh, Cameron Lopez very squirrely over the chicane there. All the way sideways, rear end tapping the wall. And now the McLaren back at the Mercedes, both of them completely harvesting ERS here. A huge fight going on here for this P3 position that'll turn into P2. Only opening up the gap here for the Sauber of Maxime Van Averbeek, who's currently looking for his 5th win of the season. And slightly off track there for Dan Dale. Can Cameron Lopez use the DRS to catch, or will he be harvesting this time? We're riding along on board with him. He goes to the outside. The McLaren, of course, going defensive. Here he goes. The McLaren, of course, brakes later to make sure to box off that corner exit. It was never on through there. No worries. It's absolutely heating up in the middle part of this race for this P2 position. Currently, they're all fighting for P3 in a train. Oliver James made a mistake about 4 or 5 laps ago, falling into the clutches of Cameron Lopez and Dan Dale, and we have been watching them go back and forth ever since. We have a yellow flag once again for Aidan McCarthy, and a little bit of janking around there in the braking zone there from that East Coast Racing McLaren, Oliver James.
Ryan finally fits.
He does, and that makes that battle for P2 an actual battle for P2 now. Let's watch this pit stop. We get on here. Not the greatest stop ever. He'll come out behind both Alpines, but on fresher, softer compound tires. And we'll come out just ahead of Lewis Hutchin, slotting into P7. Now let's get back to the battle at hand. Here comes Cameron Lopez once again. DRS is open. The gap only 0.2 of a second, 0.1 of a second. Which way does he go? He chooses to go to the outside. Can he make it work? He brakes early. Can he force Oliver to overshoot his Braking zone. Oh, and he goes down the inside.
So beautiful.
What a switch, but will he keep it? No, he won't. He gets forced off the track there. Within reason, I would say, through a sector this tight by the McLaren of Oliver James. Definitely
so beautiful.
Yeah, that was an incredible little battle there. 3-second time penalty there for Santi Ortiz.
He's gonna lose 2 spots right here.
Oh, contact!
He hit him! Oh man, we gotta check. Did he hit him hard enough? It doesn't look like it.
No damage.
Like everything is
no damage.
Oh, that's good.
Cameron Lopez now building a bit of a gap there after that contact. That Aston Martin probably going to be annoyed and steaming down the inside. And oh, a mistake there from the McLaren of Oliver James. The gap now up to a full second. Will he still be in DRS here in a moment's time?
I'm telling you, he's gone a bit. I mean, that mistake, whatever that mistake was, it's definitely hurt him for the long run.
It seemed like a big enough mistake to cost him 4 seconds, so it was... Oof. Oh, he hit the wall a bit there.
Yeah, that was interesting. Looks like his wings are still fine. I mean, assuming it wasn't that bad, but you can never be too certain with how this game is. What damage can do what.
Seemed like it hit pretty square, of course. That's a big contributor to the type of damage you get in a scenario like that.
He caught back within DRS range of Cameron, though. That's important for him. That's really important.
It is, and he does seem fairly quick through that initial sector there after turn 11, which is why it surprised me. I mean, and once again we see Aiden McCarthy backing up to not miss that corner. I'm not quite sure what he's doing at this point, but he may well be running more downforce, but in that case, I wouldn't be expecting him to lose so much time. And down the inside!
Oh, that was cheeky. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. Didn't like that. Jamie Cavallini leaving the session there.
Messer got around Santi right there on the front stretch before turn 1. He's going to be licking his chops going for, is that Finn Baker?
I would like to ask, are the 2 cars for you the Aston Martin and McLaren that made contact? Are they both still ghosted for you?
The Aston Martin, yeah, they are. They are still ghosted for me.
I was wondering the exact same thing, as I'm wondering if there was some sort of glitch there, as we had a host migration, the host Jamie Cavallini leaving the session right as that contact happened and they were ghosted. Could this be... Yeah, could this be something where it has stuck them into being ghosted? And could this...
it affect the others, right? I mean, will they see that they're ghosted? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, this is all stuff I'm wondering here. Ryan Messer! Big damage to the front of his car! Oh no, what a shame for Ryan Messer. He gets it all wrong there.
He must have hit a wall.
And while that's been happening, Oliver James also.
Oh, wow.
Missing big pieces of wing, and he's way down the order.
What? Where would he have hit at?
He hit on the exit of turn 16, the one at the end of the...
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I'm not sure if he took off too much corner and the hairpin and hit the wall, potentially.
Well, I'll tell you what that took too much off of, and it's that wing. It's that, I mean, he's gonna, I mean, I would pit, honestly, and limit the damage. You're gonna definitely get passed by the Alpine here.
Santi Ortiz has time penalties. Will he get passed by the Alpine?
Oh, how much does he have? Let's take a
look.
I
think it's 6 seconds.
3 seconds.
Okay, 3 seconds.
3 seconds. So I mean,
Let's see what the time loss here is through this sector where you need a bit of wing. He came into this sector, it was 2.8. Now 2.3. Now 2 flat through that corner. 1.9. Yeah, he will be definitely losing positions to those Alpines without it. But the question remains, with this many laps left, are you going to fall back all the way behind Sean Reese, or do you think you can hold on to 7th or something if you stay out?
Might be able to hold 7th, honestly. I mean, it's a good gap to Ryan Messer, and he's actually got damage too, remember?
Yeah.
So, though I don't know if Oliver James may not know that, so. But he's gonna look like he's gonna stay out here. So I mean,
it does look that way, and we have Ryan Messer still.
For 7th.
Ryan Messer's also staying out.
Yeah, I mean he has a 17-second gap to Sean, so. I'm gonna give these drivers credit. I mean, obviously the race is not over, but only 3 people with penalties. I mean, sure it's a 12-person race, but that's still pretty good if you ask me.
Yeah, and we're about to see the Alpines here take over from that McLaren. Both of these guys very quick for their points position. Currently sitting P6. And the first Alpine says, well, I'd like to get by now.
No, they're going to hold. He's going to hold these guys up. They got to be careful.
Yeah, you don't want to pick up any damage. These guys are exactly the same pace.
Maybe too far to actually get a lunge off here, I'm not going to lie. Ooh, I don't know why he's like.
Oh, he gets turned into the wall.
Wow. Well,
I would
just keep an eye up on this. That's all I'm gonna say. Just keep an eye. Make sure nothing crazy happens. I don't know.
I mean, my honest opinion is that, why are you blocking? You have so much damage, and you can't move around that many times in the braking zone. I think we're all in agreement there.
Finn picked up a time penalty right behind all that, so...
We're still taking a look with another, somewhere. This time State. I'm assuming that's in the pits, okay. Perhaps these street circuits need increased safety cars, because with all the debris you'd expect at least to see a VSC to pick up some wing.
And this just alludes back to what we said about Oliver James. I got nothing but love for the guy, but it's just about putting races together. He was in a strong spot in second, and one mistake put him in the clutches of Lopes and Dan. And well, now look at him. He's got more wing damage, and he's gonna finish behind the Alpines and most likely finish behind the Mercedes.
And he is coming too, at Mercedes. What I was about to bring up, speaking of safety cars, maybe it is time to see if we should be running safety cars on Increased, because we have not seen a safety car since the Belgian Grand Prix. That's 5 races ago.
And was the Belgian Grand Prix, was there only,
only the one?
Was it that one?
There's only been 3 races this season with more than one safety car. That being Austria, which had one at the start and the finish. Spain, which had a whole bunch for some reason, even though it was a dry race. And same with Australia, which had 4 safety cars, 2 VSCs, and 2 red flags. That was a race. But even beyond that, we haven't even seen a VSC in the last 3 races. That, of course, can't...
Right here at the end of the season, we could, take a look at it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that, you need a safety car all the time to spice it up, but as Vaxi picks up a 3-second penalty, that won't affect him in any way at all here. But yeah, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, and I don't know. I haven't really. Oliver also picking up 3 seconds here. That won't help him in his little quest to hold on to P7 or P6, sorry. But yeah, no. As I was saying, I feel like as these drivers have gotten, with the exception of the one we saw today in the Ferrari hitting the wall at every opportunity, I feel like they've gotten pretty clean, and we're getting to the point where you might want a more realistic solution to safety cars, where if you see big chunks of wing being taken out, you might want to see a VSC.
Does his Alpine have damage, or is he just on pace with Oliver? He's on pace with Oliver.
I think what's happened here is the other Alpine, Santi, was pulling Finn along, and then once the McLaren got between them, he lost it. And here comes the Mercedes down the inside of that McLaren. McLaren's switching back, but obviously missing significant pieces of his car. It's going to be a lot harder.
Take it back to him, isn't he? Yeah,
I think he is. Down the inside.
Right there. I'm telling you, it's very scary seeing him on the inside near the wall.
He nearly got the back of that Alpine there, too. I don't know if you just saw that.
Yes, he's really racing his heart out with the damage he has.
Yeah, and it's all falling apart for Oliver James once again. He could have been on for 18 points. Now it's looking like 6 for the driver from Britain. It's been a disappointing Miami Grand Prix, United States Grand Prix from the East Coast Racing driver. But as we're on lap 28 now, or 27, my apologies. Oh, and the Mercedes there. Oh my goodness. And what I was going to say is there's a 26-second gap between first and second.
Oh, what a dive by Oliver James.
And did he gives it...
Yeah, he had to give it up. He had to give it up. He might have gotten the...
oh, the illegal overtake.
Yeah.
That'd be a frustrating one from the Alpine, as this is costing...
oh, hello.
Yeah, there is some not-so-friendly racing happening here. But can't even blame him.
For the battle we lost in second place.
This is true as they fight here for P5. The Alpine goes to the outside and the McLaren defends. The McLaren, of course, braking late, but the Alpine will keep the position here through this long sweeper with the downforce that the McLaren driver does not currently have. There's some contact nose cone to what we'll call the transmission, the light box. And here comes the McLaren once more. Lap 28 now as the gap's 28 seconds, matching the lap count. That would be the second highest margin of victory this season, behind only the 37 we saw in Monaco in the race that we only saw 2 finishers. If that tells you anything about that gap that Maxime Van Averbeek has actually established here. Here comes the Alpine once more down the outside of turn 1. Yeah, but he's gonna make him give it to him. Oh! And the Mercedes now goes by. Lewis Huchen taking advantage here. He, of course, the only one of the group to not have time penalties. He's just gonna have to hold it together here for that P5 finish.
Smart. He made sure Finn Baker didn't get back to the inside of him like he did last lap.
And Finn Baker will pick up that DRS, that double DRS tow here, too.
They're going to both get him, I think. Or he's going to block one off. I don't know what... Oh, he's going to hold him. Oh.
Mercedes uses the Alpine as a pick. The Alpine thinks better of it, but the McLaren still has the inside here. He pushes the Mercedes wide. That wing just pushing himself wide there through that corner. At what point... is the line pushed a little too far here?
I mean, I'd understand him racing Finn Baker this aggressive. They're actually fighting for 5, but I mean, I'd let the Mercedes go. And matter of fact, I mean, I'd just be behind him against DRS.
This seems like ego racing in that I'm missing half a wing and I feel like I can beat you guys, and that's okay. I love to see it. He's clearly frustrated. He hasn't... I don't think he's crossed the line too much yet. That dive was a little bit questionable into turn 1 on the Alpine, but beyond that mistake, I don't think anything's been too egregious from the McLaren driver. As he's wide in that corner, the Mercedes, he has to give it up to the Mercedes here. And now, of course, we have Maxime Van Averbeek crossing, or sorry, that was Ryan Messer. Maxime Van Averbeek coming to the last real braking zone on the track. He's going to win by an over 30-second interval if things go as they are. The 5th win of the season for Maxime Van Averbeek. But right now, the eyes are on the Alpine battle with Finn Baker. These two both with their penalties. Finn Baker now not able to make the move into that corner as the McLaren still keeps the position down that long curving straight. And now we head into the chicane. Who will come away with P6? P2 is going to be Cameron Lopez by the look of it as it stands right now. Finn Baker really squirrely out of that last corner there. Will the DRS flaps open for the McLaren? Yes, they do. It's going to be really hard now for that Alpine to get by. Will the McLaren make a move on the Mercedes? He does. He's still trying to make moves on the Mercedes. And Finn Baker, of course, trying to make it happen as well. The McLaren gets by the Mercedes on pace as well. They're swapping back and forth, but he'll fall down the order at the end. Finn Baker cannot keep 6th. I'm sure there will be be some trips to the stewarding room, but man, it was fun to watch. What a finish for that P6 position, P5, I guess, if you don't count those time penalties for Lewis Huchin in P5. But yeah, what a podium! What a podium for Dan Dale in P3. That's his first ever podium. Santi Ortiz, another 12 points to his tally. That's good for the Alpine driver, Orker F1. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, all in all. What are your thoughts on that one, Stotts?
I mean, I enjoyed it. The heart from Oliver James there at the end. I mean, that trust me, if that brother had no wing, he was gonna stay out. He was gonna race it no matter what. I enjoyed this race. From the battles we had for second, third, and fourth, to the battle falling to fifth, sixth, and seventh, or something like that. Fourth, fifth, and sixth. It was great to watch. I mean, just good racing all around. I mean, yeah, some wings were broken in the process, but it didn't take away from awesome overtakes and just racing. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I fully agree. So our interview selection for this race, as we go down the order here, Stotts, if you want to go through and tell the finishing selection here while I grab interviews.
Gotcha. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Maxime, excuse me, Maxime, another win under his belt was Cameron Lopes coming home second. Third, Dan Dale, I believe the name is. Fourth, Santi Ortiz. Fifth, Lewis, do not know his last name, and that's it for me. That's all I could see. Awesome.
And I did manage to very quickly snag those final things. Lewis Huchin, of course, 5th, as Stotts said. Oliver James 6th in the McLaren as we watched. Finn Baker coming home 7th in the Alpine. 8th place, Ryan Messer. He had some big damage at the end. Sean Reese in 9th, and Aiden McDonald in P10 in the V-Carb to round out the points. Our only 2 DNFs of the session were, of course, Aiden McCarthy in the Ferrari and Jamie Cabanini in the Aston Martin. Now we wait for our interviews. First up is Cameron Lopez. Stotts, if you have any questions, have a go.
Yes, sir.
Firstly, right. Cameron Lopez, our P2 finisher. We, of course, would interview Maxime Van Averbeek, but we cannot ever speak to the Belgian, the championship leader. You, of course, are of our next highest finisher. You're making a bit of a habit of that. And 38-point gap becomes 45. The gap now, or the goal for you now, what is it for you?
For me, it's to wrap up the team standings. Maxime's just way too quick for any of us. It's just nothing we can do against him.
Yeah, I do. I can see the demoralization after a gap of 30 seconds in a race on pure pace. That's pretty insane. How did that race go from your perspective? Tamer than you thought? More chaotic? Or how did it feel on your end?
Um, for me, I don't really like this track. It's got not a lot of grip. It's really hard to get the traction zones right. So I was struggling the whole race. Um, but for my normal standards on this track, I thought it was pretty good. I was lucky that Oliver James made the mistake, and then the Aston Martin behind me, them two made contact. I don't know exactly what happened, but just got no man's land for basically that whole race. Nothing much to do.
Yeah, I can imagine. Of course, we saw the battle with Oliver James. He fell back after that. I'm assuming it was pretty much just about holding your own against Lewis Hutchin, or sorry, not Lewis Hutchin, Dan Dale in P3. Um, but yeah, solid P2 finish for you. Um, I'm sure you're happy with that, and I suppose that does help in the team standings as well. 18 points to the tally after Ryan Messer's mistake means that pretty much the gap stays the same between the
I think
top
it's
two
1 point
teams right
zero.
now. Yeah, that's not a super tough not a super tough weekend compared to last weekend's 40 to 18. So yeah, good race from you, Stotts. You have any questions?
If you were to have started alongside Maxim, do you think you could have had a chance to stick with him in DRS and possibly give him a chance, give him a fight of some sorts?
I don't think so. I tried to go turn one, but it's just the inside turns into the outside, and there's not enough space there for two cars against Oliver James. So it would have been the same thing with Maxime. He was just way too quick for any of us.
Gotcha.
Well,
Alrighty, well.
I assume that will pretty much wrap up our stream here. Good interview from you, Cameron Lopez, and we'll speak to you next week. Congrats on your P2 finish.
Thank you.
And yeah, that'll wrap it up.
You speaking of podium into existence here? You calling a podium for Cameron next week? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's not what I meant, but I see the confusion. It could be a good track for him. It's Mexico. I think he's gotten on pretty decently at Mexico in the past. But like here, fairly low grip circuit, so it's hard to say. If he was struggling with grip here, maybe this ends up being another track that Maxime Van Everbeck just kind of runs away with. With that said, I enjoyed the race today. Hopefully we can get a little bit more action next week, but I
Thanks, the
think
overnight.
I think yeah, we'll have to call up Oliver Knott as a reserve and see if he can bring the fight to Maxime Van Averbeck. That's what we really
Give
need
us
this
something
season.
at the front. We
Yeah,
need something.
exactly. But yeah, you guys, if you enjoyed the race, you'll definitely enjoy a little bit more of what we got going on this week. Um, of course, Saturday no race because it is another off week for the Arc World Sports Car Championship on Assetto Corsa, which I need to get the signups out for as a league owner here. But yeah, no, after that, we have Sunday's touring car race, which is going to be awesome from the circuit Barcelona de Catalunya. Two different layouts, the national circuit and the GP circuit with no chicane. After that, Tuesday, we visit the NASCAR Heat Cup Series schedule,
I
which,
should be there for that one. Got my
yeah,
controller fixed. The stick drift's gone, so I'll be able to do that one finally.
and you will be very happy to know that it is going to be the Coliseum 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway then.
Oh no.
Sorry, I'm wrong. It's an off week Tuesday.
Oh
No
no,
race
that
Tuesday.
sucks too.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. That's my apologies. So yeah, what you guys have to look forward to basically this week is touring cars, and then you got to wait till Wednesday for the Arc Oval schedule, which will see the Arc Late Model Series hit Martinsville Speedway for the Paperclip 200,
Ooh,
which should
that'll
be
be
an
fun. That should
awesome.
make it juicy.
That should be an awesome race to watch. It's a 200 lapper in the super late models, and you guys definitely want to tune in for that. A special shout out to our sponsors, Sim League Pro, where hosting a league becomes as easy as possible. Drag and drop functionality, making things as simple as possible. Special shout out to the Racing Rats, who put together some incredible mods that we can use for free in the Assetto Corsa League. And another special shout out to our other sponsor, Dive Bomb, which makes everything possible with their incredible motorsports coverage and just in general, great, great articles to read, and you guys will want to check that out at dive-bomb.com. Until next week for the Mexican Grand Prix, we will see you guys then. It's been Matthew Stotts and AJ Knickel, and have a good week.
Happy late Mother's Day, or early. Happy early Mother's Day. I just want to get that out. I know that's Sunday, so all the moms out there, or soon to be, that ought to be known. I'm not one, but there you go.
Okay.